y'all, I'm Ellen. We've been super inspired by our journeys of self-healing and discovery.
And I'm Sam, and we want to share our experiences with you to help you get curious about yourself, reconnect, and get intentional about your life so you know what makes you happy.
Welcome to Woo New, the podcast. I am super honored to be introducing our guest for today, Katie Schomberg, who I had the pleasure of sharing the experience of the Mystery Mentorship Program with, that we were both learning under Mimi Young. She is the Rosewater Healer. She's a modern day medicine woman, a psychic, an intuitive, and a guide. And she's also the creator of the Healing Farm, which is this beautiful farm-to-apothecary healing experience in the Smokey Mountains. And I love what you write about this healing farm, that it's more than just a cultivation and growing of plants. It's actually a whole healing container and a transformational space. So we're really grateful and honored to be welcoming you to Woo New and to be speaking with us today about all of your experiences, your healing journey, and all these wonderful creations that you've brought into the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm like already tearing up. It might be one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
To hear someone speak over you, the truth of who you are, even and in like an introduction, is for me like really powerful. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I feel that too. It's so, I mean, I think the more I continue this practice as a facilitator of breath work and journey work, the more I realize that, you could learn the little tricks of like how to put a playlist together and, holding the space and all that kind of stuff. But really what it boils down to is just being seen and allowing your presence to witness the presence of others, That's really all it is. It's your sharing of the frequency that you carry with others and the sharing of it back with you. And that in itself, I feel like is so powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I feel like everyone who's joined this mystery mentorship program is so powerful too. It's like every time I meet someone new through this program that you guys are doing, I'm just so blown away by like what incredible healers you are. And it sounds like that mystery mentorship program is no joke. So
it was intense in a certain way because you're like receiving so much information.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we just finished our last ever session together, a circle together, and I cried throughout the entire 2 hours, because I realized that spending the last year and a half with these beautiful souls, and it's not like I even had a one-to-one connection, or conversation with every single person,
Right.
but it's just the energy that we carried within that container that was so profound, and like now I'm tearing up.
Yeah.
But, it
absolutely.
was so healing.
And I had to, like, a lot of them I wasn't able to even attend live. I've been, catching up and finishing, and it's still, it doesn't matter, it's like still a same but different experience, as you make your way through it. And yeah, it was really just it was a gift for me. And I look back on, just thinking about coming and sharing whatever comes out today in this conversation, the journey of you, whoever you is, and the thread that kind of weaves it all together, and the people that you meet and those you connect with and those maybe you just meet kind of in passing, and how, I don't know, I just am like, I get to this place of like just so much gratitude for even the passing moments, the threads, and allowing these experiences to really become a part of who we are, but not necessarily define exactly who we are. You know, it's like this ongoing, that's an ongoing learning for myself, for sure. But yeah, it was really, and still is, like super powerful for me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that what you have made your mission of your life is to help women remember their way home. And I love the way you articulate that. It's not about fixing. It's not about,
Yeah.
you know, transformation even. It's about a return, you know, and a remembrance. You okay?
Sorry.
You okay?
Yeah, 2 giant doves just flew straight into my window.
Oh
my
no.
goodness.
Sorry.
No, I
That
hope
scared
they're
me.
okay.
Yeah, no, they're okay. I just saw them fly away, but
Okay. That happens in my house a lot too.
did you guys
It's
hear
all
the
good.
bang?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I thought you knocked your
dropped
mic over.
Uh-huh. I did too.
No, sorry. Whew.
All
Caught me
good.
off guard. I was so zen there for a second.
I feel like
funny.
these moments are so intentional.
I do too. I'm like, we need to look that up.
I know.
Oh my god.
What is a spiritual meeting of 2 doves showing up, banging into your window?
Well, in fairness, we have these 2 bird feeders that we put out in the gardens, and so we have probably like 50 or 60 birds that all come in all day long to feed and like swim in the bird bath and stuff. And so sometimes, you know, they get a little, you know,
Rowdy.
pecking order is a real thing. So sometimes they get a little worked up and then they try to fly away really fast, and then that happens.
Oh.
So
no.
it happens more than I
okay.
wish it did, but
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, it feels good to laugh.
oh, sorry.
Seriously, it's medicine right now. But yeah, I feel like that, again, that incident was like connected to what we were talking about, which is this beautiful mission to help women return back to themselves. And I find that this mission never comes without the experience of needing to do that yourself, or going through the journey of doing that yourself.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I'd love to start almost kind of at the beginning, wherever you feel like the beginning is for you in this journey of healing that has brought you to this place with the Healing Farm and your work.
I've been thinking about this, and it's funny because I asked the same of the women who come on my podcast. I'm like, okay, start at the beginning. And you're like, okay, where do I truly begin? But I really feel like it is at the very beginning. And, you know, I am very, in my learning style and everything, it's like very hands-on and very sensory driven. And so it's like one of those things where I can really only truly speak from my own experience. And, you know, the past 7 years have been like actively returning home to myself. And I'm 45. So this did not happen in my 20s. You know what I mean? Like, I can look back and begin to see the threads, like I was saying a minute ago, those threads woven through our journeys, but it didn't actively begin showing up until about 7 years ago, right when my dad passed away, you know, and I moved a lot. It's so interesting as I learn more and more. I'm like I have a lot of Gemini in my chart, and super curious.
Yeah.
Like I want to learn about all the things that are very fascinating to me, and one of them being astrology. And as I like learn and understand my own chart more and more, like I see the energies of moving like I did as a kid. I see the relationship with my dad, which was never easy. You know, I see the relationship with, you know, my mom, my siblings, the beautiful coming together of like meeting my husband in my 20s and having kids and all. You can kind of see it all. It's really interesting. But yeah, I grew up and it was like an evangelical Christian home, and moved a lot. Like by the time I hit high school, I think I had moved 13 times.
What?
Wow.
And my dad was not in the military. Like people always ask me that. And I'm like, no, that he just would get, you know, he came from a very poor culture. And I look back now and I can see like, and I have so much compassion for him now. I didn't, you know, many years ago, but like I can see his bravery to leave and walk away from this very oppressive, and not that I grew up in oppression, but it was like different, you know.
Yeah.
he didn't access these healing tools and in the same way that I have, and it I can see it now, but in the moment, you know, you're just like making it day to day. But so I grew up in this space, moved a lot, I'm the middle child. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart. And I was, you know, the words I remember from being little are, I was like super stubborn. You know, my way is the only way. Like I would get so angry and mad, but I wasn't really allowed to have my emotions. In high school, I remember, and I found these letters not too long ago, really the only way I could communicate with my dad was to write. And I started writing letters, and yeah, I found them. Or I guess it was 2020 when we were cleaning out, thanks to COVID, all the things. I found these letters and I was like, it's so fascinating to read them because I was in such a different space, but at the same time, I can see myself, which is like this weird, it was super healing and weird all at the same moment. And it was on a full moon when I found these. I'm like, okay, we're burning this. Like it's time to release this part as well. And so my home was not stable. There was a lot of what I would consider, like looking back and having my own kids and how I've chosen to walk alongside them. I mean, I look back and it was very traumatic, you know, very chaotic, not a whole lot of feeling rooted and grounded, which my Taurus energy really craves to feel safe. And we all do, but I see now, like I didn't feel that as a kid and not connected to my body at all. I was born with a port wine stain on my face. And so I might start crying, but I think I'm good. It really wasn't until, and this is crazy to say out loud, but it literally, like, I don't think it was until 2018 that I truly found healing over the fact that I have something on my face. And because there was just, you know, growing up as a kid and then as a teenager and, you know, moving into my 20s and never truly loving myself, like always showing up because I should, always being in a space because that's what somebody else was telling me to do. Like I really could not hear myself. I couldn't, you know, and I know why, but sometimes I wonder why it was so, like I was so foggy, like I just could not see. And when my dad passed away, it'll be 7 years this coming March of 2022, which is crazy to me to think about. But I can look back and I see the beginnings of an awakening or whatever you want to call it, you know, like where you just like, I can't do this anymore. Probably about 8 or 9 years ago, began to see like somebody scratching the surface of this wound that had been healed sort of, you know, like it had a scab on it, but it was still there. And like something began to scratch and like itch. And during this time, my dad was really ill. And it was like some crazy Lifetime movie that I don't have time to tell you all the details about, but it was pretty awful. And when he died, my whole physical body like fell apart. And that was, it was like 3 weeks maybe after he died, audibly heard. And this is why that the threads of our lives, not owning you, but like not defining you, not owning you, but just being a part of who you are, your story. It's like, for me, it's two different energies, because I lived for so long disconnected from myself. And I lived for so long defined by my past, by motherhood, by the jobs I was, pursuing, by my relationship with my dad. Like, all of these things defined who I was. And he passed away. And 3 weeks later, I remember sitting, and I've always heard things, but this was, I think, the loudest thing I had ever heard. And it was, you are not, like, this story, this does not define you. It's time to wake up. It is time. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact words. I do have them written down, but not in front of me. But it was like, his story is not who you are. Like, it is part of your story, but it is not who you are. And it is time to do things different. And I was like, okay, like, and I had no resistance because my physical body was crashing. And so it was like, I couldn't fight the, like, oh gosh, well, what will my fellow Christian, friends think? And what will my family think? And I just really was like desperate. And that's when I started turning to things that I had never turned to before. I found energy healing in a way that felt really safe to me. And I began to see like drastic shifts, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And it's been an unfolding ever since. And I have gone deeper and deeper into what do I want? How do I want to feel? Like the redefinition of what is success? Like, how do I want to live alongside my kids and my partner? And a lot of leaving and walking away from communities and friends that I'd had for years. There's been a lot of loss, which has been, this big, obviously, like a grieving periods for sure. But in the loss, it's like the idea of creating space, how, like, if you've got clutter and you clean out the clutter, there's room for what is really supposed to land. And that's, that, in a nutshell, that has been my journey. And it's had lots of, walking away from very successful businesses I was growing. Like, I can't do this anymore, and not being able to explain it to anyone. And somehow my husband trusting me through it all, walking away, like my kids, it's been like about 6 years ago, almost 6 years ago. And walking away from like traditional, we've always homeschooled, but just the traditional way of doing things, and knowing it was another one of those audible moments where I heard, it's time to stop fighting. Like, it's you have to let go of your children, like you have let go of this business. In a way that sounds like what, but like, it's like I was holding on so tightly with my fists clenched to the things that I felt like I had control over, and that I could force in a certain way, or push in a certain direction, or like pull the reins and they go left, and pull the reins and they go right. And it was like, you have to let go. And like, I would have moments where I just would have to stop and lift my arms and open my hands and be like, okay. And so through that letting go, shifting to an unschooling lifestyle with my family, which has been the most healing experience of everything. And allowing everyone that lives inside these walls of this home to truly return and be who they are, without an expectation or an agenda or a timeline or whatever you want to attach to it, that this Western world makes us think equals you're doing a good job, like just let the shit go. And, it's ironic. On my arm, it was right after my dad died, my right forearm, I have tattooed, let go. And I have 5 birds that it represents my family. And I mean, I had no idea at the time that would be like my life mantra. It's been this constant release. And even through like the mystery mentorship, realizing that I don't remember the exact wording of what this is called in tarot, maybe y'all can remember, but like the card that represents your life. And mine is death. Like the death card is, I have a lot of Scorpio too, and its place and where it's placed in my chart. It's like this, that's the journey for me. It's the letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, releasing, in order to return home to myself. But I believe through this process, it's like what we're all meant to do, and that's when we're truly living. Because I lived to survive. Like I was just in that mindset of like just survival. And I'm like, this isn't living. This is like bound up in chains. And, a lot of my process has been in the world of unschooling, we call it deschooling, but it's the same idea of like deconditioning, dismantling, deconstruction. It's this picking apart, not picking apart in like a nitpicky way, but like pulling, I guess that's a better word, pulling apart these systems that we have rooted so deeply within us, believe as truth, and like taking a step back. For me, it's been a lot of releasing of these belief systems around, who is God, and what that's been like a huge part of this for me. And what do I believe? What do I want? What is my truth? Not what somebody else is telling me, and not what is outside of me, but it is an inside out process, not an outside in. And I mean, through that, here we sit with the healing farm, and there's still, I'm like, there's so many layers of this that will slowly unfold over time that I started to see and have visions of in the fall of 2019. Even though it's that thread piece again, I can look back and see even where it started, I've truly begun to see, like, I believe now, I didn't know who she was at the time, but it's an ancestor that I began to see very clearly in these visions that I had of the healing farm and what it meant. And it was in breath work. That's where I began to see and have these visions. And I didn't even know what it was at the time. I just saw her and what she was doing, and
wow,
and what she was wearing. And yeah, and I was at breathwork training, and I have my journal, and I was writing, like this is what kept coming up as I kept seeing, these lines of ancestors. And then this one in particular that would walk the fields on my property. And I was like, what? I didn't know what that was. And then slowly it began to unfold. And I was like, oh, and in my process, I've learned that a lot of times for me, it's a sitting with, like a sitting with an idea, or a sitting with a release, a sitting with whatever it may be. And then when I know. And sometimes it can take a little while, and sometimes it's really quick, but yeah, so here we are. The healing farm doors are officially open. And it's been a journey for sure.
wow. I love that That's so powerful. It's funny because as you talk about your chart, I'm like, I'm a Gemini and I am a Scorpio rising,
Mm,
and I have pretty much Cancer is like my sign in pretty much everything else. And so as you're
okay.
talking about your chart, I was like, oh yeah, I know that. I know that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
um, but I find it so inspiring that, like, I know I was very disconnected as well on my journey. And like a big part of the way that I reconnected with my body was coming back to herbs and
Yeah.
herbal medicine. And it just happened to be that I like signed up for this little herbal medicine workshop that was only, I think, 3 days long. But the things that I learned in that workshop really just sort of lit the fire behind like appreciating all of these plants and these healing medicines that we have around
Hmm.
us, and how much of a difference they can make for us. And I was looking through your website and your seasonal boxes earlier, and I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing that you've put together. Like, what, it's so powerful.
I know. I can't wait to get mine.
I
Oh my
can't
gosh.
wait for you to get yours. I mailed them yesterday. So
Yay! I know,
that
Sam.
was,
I'll share it with
I know.
you.
I was like, is it too late? I
yeah.
was just reading it. It's like, oh, you have to order 2 weeks before. And I was like, ah, shit, I think I missed the deadline.
Well, you can get in on the winter solstice box that will be
Okay, I
coming
love
out.
that.
So, yeah, that was one of those knowings. Like as I began to have like the downloads of what was happening, I was like, oh, I've had a CSA box for years from friends of ours who are farmers. And I was like, wouldn't it be so cool if you could have a box of plant medicine? And then I started Googling and I'm like, well, no, I did not make that up. Other people do this too, but it's like, it has been so fun for me because like I have a history, and I have many qualifications or certifications, or I just love learning and I always have. But I'm a chef, a trained chef, and I did that in my early 20s when we moved up to the mountains from Alabama, where I spent high school and college and some as a younger kid as well, which tells you a lot about my upbringing in my own opinion. But we moved to the mountains and I could not find, I was like, what am I supposed to do with myself? Like, we moved for my husband's job. We were newly married, like not even a year. I didn't know anybody. And I had always loved to cook. And I went back to school, and I went to culinary school in Asheville, North Carolina, and started personal chefing out of culinary school. And even at that time, and I was so asleep, I was just so not clear, but I can look back and see a girl really living for what she wanted, which is like, I just want to go back and like hug her sometimes for just pursuing things that interested her. And it makes me want to cry because this is what I do for, I hope I do for my kids and hold space for that place of really just going after what it is that you love, like with unabashedly, like it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. But that's truly where I found plants, was in culinary school. And, I grew up with one of my dad's mom, we called her mama, but she always had a big garden. I have a lot of Native American lineage on that side of my family. But I wasn't taught that. Like, I wish if I could have an hour to spend with her, now, and be like, tell me everything, but I didn't learn that as a kid. And so I really discovered plants in the form of like culinary herbs. It was in culinary school, and just the understanding the depth of flavor, even like that's like totally just scratching the surface of what plants can, do. But that's where I really began diving in, and then having kids and choosing and a more holistic way to just live with them and treat them, like emotionally, physically, you know, how I chose to birth. All of the things really impacted that plant journey. And I spent several years, you know, in the world of essential oils, and went more towards herbalism, um, to understand, you know, the physical aspects. But to me, it's like there's a root, you know, and that root is not usually physical. There's something much deeper that's going on, that's presenting physically. And so that's really truly my heart when it comes to individually working with people or groups. It's like, okay, what's the root? That's where we need to go. I have no desire to be and work with people in like an allopathic way. Like, to me, it's like holistic or nothing. And that's one thing I've discovered, you know, along the journey as well. And yeah, it impacts everything, you know. I believe there's so much power and agency that comes back to you when you start working with plants, and realizing that, you know, if they're literally sometimes just right outside in your yard, you know, if you have a yard, or the park, you know.
Yeah, that was what shocked me the most, I think, too, is like some of the most healing plants and medicines we have around us. If you're in a park, you might walk past them and see them as weeds.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're wild. I know, like
Yeah.
dandelion greens and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
California mugwort. I love that. I mean, your story actually reminds me that there really is no wrong turn. You know,
Yeah. Yep.
even with like things like previous careers, because I think a lot of times we talk about, especially those of us who have kind of like, you know, left our quote unquote career to sort of embark on this path of a, for lack of a better word, light worker, or somebody who is wanting to be of service. And I'm noticing the thread is so intentional, even from where you came, because there's always this thing, this intuition that's kind of driving you, even if you feel like you're completely not on your right course, you totally are, you know? And the fact that you went to culinary school and love cooking and just, you know, I don't know. I look at my previous career in marketing and advertising and design. It's really not even about advertising, but it's more about design work and graphic design and being able to express through visuals. Like that so factors into even my work as a breath worker through visualization. And it's not necessarily, you know, visuals that you see on paper or on screen, but they're visuals that you experience within your heart space or within your being. And it's still that same through line. It's still creating,
Absolutely.
you know. And
Yeah.
I love how these yeah, like these threads just connect. Like it just shows me how perfect and intentional every single stop has been on your journey. And I just want to kind of go back to what you were saying about letting go, because I really don't think it's a coincidence that that movie Frozen hit so hard with all the kids, and like,
Oh
and
my
Yeah.
that
gosh.
song Let It Go was
That
such a
song.
hit. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's because that is, you're absolutely right, Katie. Like that is what we are all learning how to do as humans, you know, on this physical plane. It's surrender after surrender after surrender after surrender. And that is really how we remember who we are from the beginning. It is just letting go and surrendering. And that I don't think I quite, like, I know I've continued to learn that lesson over and over through my own journey, but I don't think I quite understood that until you shared your journey and said it in this particular way. It just dawned on me that is what every lesson is about. It is
Yeah.
about surrender, you know, like every single
Absolutely.
lesson.
Which I think is like one reason for me, I feel so connected and like this really deep, purposeful way to growing plants. You know, I've always gardened and I've always had things growing. My hands have been in the dirt, but planting the medicinals and then sharing them with others in like this intentional way, and seeing, I've always been very aware of like the cycles of the seasons and this death and rebirth. To me, that's what letting go is, and it is this transformation of each season, like, and also just the rhythm of that, and how if we can just be connected to this flow that's like visually right in front of us, if our eyes are open, that we become more grounded and rooted. And our truth, at least in my own journey, it's like I can see myself more clearly if I allow myself to go. It's like that ebb and flow of the ocean, like sometimes we're out, sometimes we're in, sometimes we're crying our heads off for weeks, and sometimes we're like, oh, today feels different, and it's that paying attention and an awareness piece that is really powerful. And I believe that's where it starts. It's like this, something lifts. It's like we get a new pair of glasses, or the veil is lifted from our eyes. And it's really powerful. And it sounds so simple, but you have to, it's like, it has to be this intentional choice.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, if you can't stand in that intentional choice, it's a really hard place to find and to get back to when you've sort of stepped away from it too. And Ellen and I were talking about this the other day, like how, I mean, ultimately every ritual comes down to intention, right? It doesn't have to be a big ritual. It doesn't have to be a whole process. It can be something small, just that you do every day, but like the power of putting intention behind it and then allowing yourself to be in flow with it is so, it's really profoundly shifts the energy that you like around you, and the way that you are able to like connect with the earth and the world around you.
Yes. And for me as a mom, the connection that I've been able to discover, I've always been connected to my kids, but it's different now. It's like this, it's deep, I mean, and that's going back to unschooling, like that's the point of unschooling, is the connection part. And so to me, showing up in an intentional way to be connected that's where everything can change, and it's not just for one person. And that's one thing, part of this message that means so much to me, of the walking alongside women to return home, is that it isn't just for me, and it isn't just for the three of us on this podcast. It's for anybody who decides they want to choose that, and yeah.
I love the intentionality that you bring to what you're putting out in the world. Like we talked about the medicine box, but also I don't know if I have really seen somebody do like personalized flower essences and personalized teas and things that are so intentionally crafted with love for exactly who you are at that moment within your cycle of remembering. Can you talk a little bit about that offering and how you came to that offering?
Absolutely. I love flower essences. To me, it's like all plant medicine has an energy to it, but it's the subtle quality of a flower essence that really affects the emotional body. And we are, like you said, we're at different moments, at minute to minute, day to day, we're in a different space emotionally, energetically, and we need different kinds of support, and I believe that, first of all, when it's personalized, I understand because of, again, my chart. I'm a Leo rising. I value being seen and heard. I deeply need that myself, and I want others to feel seen and heard. I think that it is like one of the greatest gifts that we can give each other is to show up that way, is to really see and hear the other. And I believe that, the tea has always been, for many years now, a big part of my life. It's part of my morning ritual. It's not always the same tea every day. Sometimes I'm feeling like I made myself a cup before we got on. I was like, is that my dog or somebody else's? I heard a dog. But sometimes it's like to energize, sometimes it's to soothe. And so with it being personalized, I just think, why not? To me, as the older I get, I just am not interested in anything else. It's like that, the go deep or go home. Like, I don't really care about small talk. I don't really care about surface whatevers, so to me, when it's a personalized flower essence, you will receive that, and there will be healing. There will be shifts that come because, first of all, you are intentionally choosing it yourself. And then the person behind it, me, is intentionally putting it together. There's just so much purpose behind both of those offerings. And there's more to come. I'm hopefully opening the online shop mid-October. I'd wanted to have it open sooner, but it just didn't happen. More to come for sure. But those two, yeah, I'm shipping out a personalized flower essence tomorrow to a girl that just ordered. So it's really impactful. And like I said, I'm just kind of at that space where, like, let's do this, and I know that my work isn't for everyone, and that's why there's so many different people to choose from. And really wanting to call in and nourish, the people who show up for me, and to work with them in whatever capacity that is. Yeah.
I just love how that in itself, this personalized essences and teas, like that is how somebody is so seen and held, like it's like your creation becomes the presence, your creation becomes the holder. And it's just like, that to me is just so profound. And like, there's so much, like even beyond the nourishing properties and the healing properties of the plants,
Right.
the fact that you are specifically making it for that one individual, that one soul, it just, I don't know, it just touches me so much that you offer this. And I actually really want to hit you up later for,
I'm like, you should order. Yeah, no,
absolutely.
I find such joy, and it goes back to my culinary training. Like, I love creating things, there's to me, it's like building this container, to then, you pass it along to the person who says, will you build me a container? And I say, yes. And it's like this artistic, creative, coming together, if you will. And then I send it to you, and you get to have the healing and nourishing properties of the plants, plus that intention and purpose that, just like Sam said about the ritual, that's what brings the shift, that choice, that intention. Yeah.
Do you grow everything yourself?
We are on our way to do that. That is my goal.
Amazing.
That's really, it's like, I have such big plans for the healing farm. I'm like, I'm calling in land. I'm calling in, collaborators. Yeah. I'm at this space where I really like, that is the intention and the goal. I hope by a couple of years from now that most everything will be 100% grown here. We grew a lot this year. I was surprised at how much really came through, because this is our first year of very intentional production. So yeah, that's a very important aspect to me. So.
I can't wait. There's so much I just want to learn from you, because I think now, having this house in the mountains, I'm growing fruits or vegetables and herbs like in these small little planters, and I'm like, I had bought this big this big planter to like start filling with, I had this, grandiose goal of like, all these different vegetables and stuff, and I could be completely self-sustaining, and but I realize I have a lot to learn before I get to that point.
Yeah, and
it's so much harder than it seems like it would be. Yeah.
Well, and the best way, in my opinion, to learn it is to do it, and you've got to, the understanding of your soil and your climate, and just try things, I mean, because you can't, in my opinion, I'm like, with planting, it's like, yeah, some things may not work, but it's still not like, I don't think of it as like failure or success. Like, I just think of it as like a learning experience,
Yeah.
and we just gain more understanding when we try something. Yeah. I say the same thing to my kids all the time. I'm like, it's not failure or success. Like, we just, okay, you love this, you hate it. I learned this. I'm going to do this next time. It's really, I think that's what it's all about, for sure. It's so fun though.
It is.
I love that you customize these options as sort of little gifts of medicine for everyone who comes to you. But I'd love to also hear more about these one-on-one offerings that you bring to women to help them sort of along the journey. To walk alongside them.
I have right now, I don't know if y'all are like this, but I'm always have like more creations happening and within my person of like, ooh, I might want to offer this. And the ones that I have showing up right now online are the Complete Woman. And then I have just a one-time session. And I really am about the relationship. I believe that, again, to be seen and heard is one of the most powerful things you can do for someone. And so the Complete Woman is really this container. It's a holistic container. And it's not like, when you're working with an herbalist, a lot of times I do think people come with the idea of, my back hurts, so I need, and that's not really how I work. I am interested in knowing that your back is not feeling the greatest, but like, let's go deeper. And I use medical astrology. So I pull in your natal chart, and so it's natal chart, kind of understanding your story first. And then after our one-on-one time together in the first meeting, I will pull up your natal chart and kind of confirm what you're telling me. And then from that point, I will blend an herbal support. So that could be tea, it could be a tincture, it could be, what do you need right now? And the Complete Woman is a 6-week journey together. So it's an intake, a 90-minute intake together. And then it's 2 follow-ups along the way as well. Cause it's not, nothing is one and done. Like, that's just not how healing happens. And to get to the root, it takes showing up again and again, and it's that, just like with anything, it's the practice part, and I believe that we have to, that's part of the healing work, is like the practice. And like, you keep showing up, even whether it's in breath work or whether it's in, an herbal setting, like the Complete Woman. And so I just find it really an important container for people who are ready. And when women choose that, I also offer, if they want to do some breath work alongside, that will definitely speed things up, if they want to have a better understanding of their natal chart, we'll walk through that, or their human design. So there's aspects of it that are available just to the women who sign up for the Complete Woman. And then the single session is more of like an acute issue. But in all honesty, on my walk today, I heard, you need to take that off your page. Because I was like, you know what? It actually doesn't really align with me. Like, I understand the point, but I don't think I'm that girl, like I am the go deep or go home. So I actually have another offering that I think will be in its place sooner than later. That will bring more of the astrology piece into it, just like your natal chart piece. Because I think that to understand yourself from that point of view is, again, being seen and heard. And it's like so eye-opening and radically shifting that it needs to be available. And so, hope probably in the next couple of months, I'll have that up there and the single session will be no more. So it's kind of funny how things come in like that, but I'm like, no, I'm not supposed to do that, and I also know some group herbalism opportunities are coming through. I think that is really important for just accessibility and learning styles. And so that will be coming as well. Yeah, I have so many ideas. But yeah, that's what's up right now.
Can you sort of explain what medical astrology is? Because I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I was going to ask the same thing.
Absolutely. Well, I have done some of my training through evolutionary herbalism, and he works with medical astrology. And then I've also worked through like workshops and courses and books with her name is Judith Hill, and she's a medical astrologist. And so each planet represents a part of the body. Each house represents a part of the body. They all have different meanings. And so like your north node represents something, your south node. So they each kind of qualify as different representations throughout the body. And what's so fascinating is that, for instance, in my own chart, I have, I'm a Leo rising, and my moon is also in Leo, and it's in my first house because I'm a Leo rising. And I have struggled since my dad died with inflammation in my body. I can feel it. And in the past, like year and a half or so, it got to the point, like I ended up, I've tried everything that I knew to try. And so I went the functional medicine route, and we've been working for almost 5 months with herbals and other supplementation, and it's finally under control. Wow. But I have a lot of my Mars is in my first house too. So it's like, the first house represents you, right? The internal you. And then you've got your Mars and your moon. Your moon is like the waters of the body. So everything's just hot and inflamed. And, if I were to come to me and talk about my physical issues that I had been feeling, then to be able to confirm it via your natal chart, because you can see it when you know what you're looking for. It's just another way to help clearly point you in the direction of pulling that root up, whatever the root is that's ready to be released. It's really powerful. And yeah, I could go on and on, but it's just a way of seeing the person, because sometimes even the person shows up and maybe communication is difficult for them, and they're not able to clearly show you via their words what is going on. And so you're gathering their information by what they've told you, but then you see their chart, and it just puts it all together. It's kind of like the glue, in my opinion, that pieces it all together. And then there's certain planetary, energies that work best with, that's part of my box too. Ellen will see this. I put in there, like each herbal remedy has a specific planet that is kind of showing up with that remedy, that this is going to bring more, Jupiter, more expansion in your life. And so it just kind of, to me, astrology and what I have learned and still am learning, is I think it's a lifelong process of understanding at deeper and deeper levels, that it's really the, like a microscope sees these tiny little things, or a telescope sees the planets in the skies, a horoscope sees the soul of the person. And so you can just see so much. And then if you understand transits and how they affect the body, like when you're looking, whether it's for like a natal chart reading or an herbal consult where I'm using the medical astrology, you can see the transits and, how they affect the chart, because it all connects back to the body. So that's kind of a quick understanding, I guess, of medical astrology. But it's, to me, I'm like, I used to look at people and I would be like, okay, I can see the energy that I see just by looking at you as far as astrology goes. And I wondered, I was like, why, is somebody doing this? It's like, I want to lay your natal chart on top of you and then look at you. And then I found medical astrology and I was like, oh my gosh, like these
So
lights went off
cool.
in my head and I was like, this is it. And so to me, I'm like, that's the only way I want to practice, is using this as one of my tools for sure.
That's rad.
That's so powerful.
I know. I had no idea. That's super cool. And I'm now even more excited to get this medicine box too.
I know.
I'm so excited for you too.
Can't wait to see what's in it.
So we always love to ask our guests this one question to end our conversation. You've gone through such a beautiful journey. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today, because I feel like I received so much insight and new wisdom, like in new ways of looking at even my own journey too. So I can't say thank you enough. But throughout this whole journey, what has been the key pieces or piece of wisdom that you really lean into and live by?
I mean, honestly, what first comes to mind, and I'm sure there are others, but it's this allowing the other to be like, you be you and I'll be me, and that we can be in the same space. This has really helped me with like family members or relationships where, I want so desperately for them to see something that I'm seeing, or, choose the path that I'm choosing, but I can't make anybody do anything, and it's like this place of understanding that they're okay and I'm okay, and that I can show up because of my journey and the things that I'm learning to unlearn, right? And be able to show up and with so much more compassion, and at the same time having healthy boundaries, that I am able to stand in my own power and allow the other person to just be who they are in that moment. And that people change, and sometimes they don't, just allowing the room to hold, myself and what, and take care of myself first, but then also the space of, it's okay for the other person to not be on the same path as me. It's okay for the other person to be doing what they're doing right now. Not that I have to agree, right? It's not this place of like rolling over and letting somebody step all over you, but it's this, to me, it feels like this place of agency. And just, again, that intentional way of living. But yeah, like they're okay, I'm okay. And I just keep doing me. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I continue to just be reminded of, that, yeah, we're all connected, that I think of it as, in terms of motherhood, I feel like one of my biggest jobs is to allow the room, allow space for my kids to be who they are, and without my junk attached to it, and I believe that we can do that for the other. And that to me is one of the biggest take homes. Yeah.
Wow. I feel like your kids are going to just be so magical when they get older. They're going to be so wise.
Well, I am like, I will just, I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm like, that would be amazing. I just want them to be who they are. Like it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal. That's incredible.
I know. And I just feel like that piece of wisdom is so damn timely and relevant right now with all the things happening around us, and just the polarization and the tugging, like the tug of wars across all issues.
Absolutely.
And, oh man.
Sometimes I just think, I'm like, if everyone would just unschool their brains, like we would not be having any issues.
Yeah.
But again, I go back to that piece. I'm like, I'm okay. They're okay. Like, I can't make them do this.
Right.
It's like this constant humbling. Like, you got to, okay, like just take it down a notch, and to me, it's again, like that inside out process. Like, it starts within us. If we're not showing up for ourselves in this way, we can't show up for anyone.
100%.
Exactly.
So,
and especially when it comes to the next generation too, because it's like, as kids, we learn by example.
Absolutely.
Like we watch and we see, and that's how we really start that process of learning and individuation. And so often, my dad used to say this thing. He was like, do what I mean, not what I, or do what I say, not what I do, or it was something like that. It was like, I'm just like watching you. You're like a walking contradiction.
Yeah.
And I would call him out, like really young. I would call him out, and he'd have to like stop and think about it. And then I'd see him sort of shift things, and I was like, oh, I must have been such a challenging child to have.
No, well, that's such an old way of thinking. It's like, there's just a lot of these belief systems that I'm like, they just need to crumble. And I believe that that's what's happening on many levels.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's, in my opinion, a really amazing thing. So doesn't always feel good, but that's part of it sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Katie, so much for
Thank you for
this.
having me.
This
was so magical.
Yeah, and so necessary today, I think, with all the energy going around. And I for sure needed to receive all of this. So super, super grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Actually, before we close, where can people reach you and find you?
You can. My website is thehealing-farm.com. And then you can find me on Instagram @_thehealingfarm. All the information is on there, and you're always welcome to email me. I am here to help for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll have that in the show notes too.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Music for Woo New is composed by Adam Miller.